Alright, this is going to be my review of The Flash, Episode 3. This episode is, again, pretty awesome. This is another episode that delves into a lot of the background of the characters and what we see. This is again, Jeff Johns, great showrunner and all that, and I can't just thank Jeff Johns for all this. The actors and the other writers on the staff really know that they have something good here, and they realize that, and they're doing they're doing everything they can to make this a consecutively awesome superhero TV show. So, and once again, this episode proves that, even though again the villain isn't that much. I mean, it's kind of like with Multiplex, where we don't really have a lot for him, but in here we get a little bit more with this character, but they do feel a little two-dimensional. But however, having said that, though, I think this was all in all a great episode. Now, in here, the episode starts out with Barry and Iris at pretty much they're pretty much at a film called The Blue Devil. Yeah, we got a reference to the Blue Devil, and Barry gets a call to run out and save someone, which he does. Meanwhile, while this is going on, we encounter a crime family about to have dinner out in the open, but that's when, they're attacked by a being that can literally turn his body into a gaseous cloud. The villain turns out to be the Mist. The Mist, for those who don't know, and that's alright, I had to do some research as well. I don't know every single character. The character's name is Kyle Nimbus, who is known as the Mist. Now, the Mist, for those who don't know, again, I had to do some research as well, is actually a villain of Wesley Dodds, the Sandman from the JSA. He was a villain for him, who was a World War I hero in the comic book universe. The original pre-52 universe. And he joined the Society of Supervillains, and then joined alongside Vandal Savage. But in here, he's more or less a vengeful hitman who wanted to get revenge on the crime family, the person who put him away, and the detective, Joe. Yeah. And, he's got his new power. Apparently, when he was sent to be executed, during the event that gave everyone their powers, he was given, the gas that he was given in the gas chamber merged with his body, and he became a whole new being. I gotta say, for the effects they use on how to use that toxic gas is really good. Man, they got some major budget upgrades in this, in The Flash. I mean, the Storm looked pretty good for Weather Wizard, and this also looked, and also the whole clone, multiple clone things for Multiplex. The Mist effects of how his body gets all gaseous is also pretty awesome. So also in here, we also have some moments in here with Iris and Eddie, who are trying to who are kind of contemplating, okay, how do we make our relationship work? How do, without my father knowing? And it gets kind of annoying because we all know, look, dude, we get it, Iris, you really like Eddie, and, Barry's all like, well, I gotta be the good friend here and, not tell anyone. And, we also get some more character moments for Caitlin Snow, who we all know will become Killer Frost. And in here, we get more about her fiancé, Ronnie Raymond, Firestorm, and what happened to him during the accident. Apparently, he was trying to shut down the whole event from happening, shut down the whole system, but, however, he was forced to be shut in, kind of like in Godzilla, where Bryan Cranston had to shut in his wife in the movie. It was kind of like that, but Cisco sealed him in there on Ronnie's orders, and he was, quote-unquote, killed by the accident. We all know that he'll be coming back as the Great Firestorm. I can only imagine how that's going to look like on the CW budget. But I really like that story, that subplot story of Caitlin talking about Ronnie, her fiance Ronnie, and I really like. There are some really just tear-jerking moments in here. There's another great moment in here where at the end of the episode, Barry's talking to his dad, and in the episode, he's talking about the first time Barry walked. Barry walked to his dad. His mom always said, "Oh, he'll walk. He just needs some time." And when he took a few steps, when they took a few steps away, he got up and ran up to his mother's arm, right into his mother's arms. I'm like, all the feels everywhere. We also in the first fight. I'm sorry, I'm skipping around a lot. I'm just trying to get all the highlights of the episode out for this review. But also, I really like how they kind of explain. Yeah, the Flash is pretty powerful, but he can't really hit someone who can turn himself into a gaseous form. And he is in their first battle between the Mist and the Flash. The first battle between those two, it doesn't go so well for Barry because Barry inhales some of the toxic gas and it nearly kills him. Well, because you would imagine that someone who can run fast obviously has some very powerful lungs that could probably inhale and do a lot of damage to poison gas. So it nearly comes close to killing him had he not, sprinted over to Star Labs, who then talk about, Barry wants to set up a prison, because Iron Heights can't control or contain these characters, these beings. So Dr. Wells, let's face it, let's just call him Hunter Zolomon right now. But Dr. Wells pretty much suggests using the arc accelerator as a prison. There's things that can hold, it can literally hold all these beings in there. So that's what they intend to do with the Mist. They want to capture him alive, mind you, because the last two they've killed, and you kind of get the sense that you also see him smirking, like, yeah, we're killing these people, but Barry doesn't want that. Barry does not want to be a killer. He wants to, save and protect people. That, he wants to be the hero of the story. And he's pretty much like, no, we gotta have a place to hold and contain them. Thus, we get this Supermax prison, kind of. We also have a few other moments in here where, again, Iris and Eddie are trying to figure out their relationship and where it could go. Again, I could give two shits about that. I really could. It's kind of like it's not as bad. Like in Arrow, Tommy was a better character. I gave the whole Tommy and Laurel romance a lot more of a pass because Tommy was a very likable character. Eddie, I just don't give two fucks about. He's not a terrible character. I just don't give a fuck about him. There's nothing to give a fuck about him. And also with Iris, I mean, Laurel is a more interesting character than Iris. I'm sorry to say that, but it's true. Yeah. I mean, I do love this show, but those are the only two flaws I'm seeing right now. Eddie and Iris, and them together, just like, can we get back to Barry and all the interesting shit, please? Please get back to Barry. I mean, I know you're CW, you have to do this romantic drama bullshit, but please get back to Barry. Please get back to Barry. Yeah. So, all in all, Joe is also having his own little story going on where he wants to reopen Henry, Barry's father's case to prove that he's innocent. And that's when the Mist strikes after killing his other victims to try to kill Joe. Barry runs in there at the nick of time. He, gives Joe an antidote that they created. And I love the science behind, the whole gaseous form. I love how they kind of explain how he got his powers and how exactly, that metahuman ability kind of works. I really like the science behind it. But no, they managed to make a antidote which they give to Joe, and Barry proceeds to also run and confront the Mist, and they have a pretty badass battle. I really like the fight between Barry and the Mist. I mean, I was kind of afraid with this was CW, and I was afraid it was gonna be like Smallville, where it was only gonna be like a 2-minute piss poor fight, and it wasn't gonna work. So I was kind of thinking to myself, man, this is just, are they going to do the same thing? But no, the multiplex fight and this fight with the Mist was also pretty good. And I love how they kind of realize, his power is his weakness. Gas needs to stay in his gaseous form. He has to come back and reform himself, or else he'll wear his body out. So Barry has to keep the Mist from going back into his human form again and again. And even though he may breathe in some of the toxic fumes, luckily he doesn't. And they manage to capture him, and Joe wakes up in the hospital, and that's when he tells Eddie and Iris, "Hey, I knew about your relationship," and they're like, "Oh, you're not mad? Oh, I'm mad. You're lucky I didn't. You're lucky I had my gun was confiscated on the way in." So yeah, that's a whole other bag of worms that of dramatic worms we're probably going to have to sit through. But yeah. All in all, this episode was really good. It was, again, I'm really sorry I kind of jumped around at a few points. I just wanted to get the highlights out. And we also have in here another, end scene moment where we flash back to the night of the event, and Dr. Wells walks into his secret room and pulls up a screen of Barry Allen being hit by the lightning bolt on the night. So it kind of makes you wonder, he more than likely sabotaged his own thing just to, get Barry his powers. That was the whole thing, was that he wanted Barry to have all that power. And of course, at this point, I feel like either they're going to do something really smart and say he's someone else, or say that he's really, either they're going to do one of two things. They're just going to come out at one point and say, yeah, he's really Professor Zoom, or Reverse Flash, depending on how you look at it. Or B, they're going to do... They're going to do the whole, he was never really Reverse Flash, and it was Eddie the whole time that's Reverse Flash, and he turns out to be like Metron or something. One of those two things, but it's kind of looking that, he's probably the big bad guy of the series, the season. Dr. Wells, anyway. Unless they throw you for a loop, that's the other thing. And I would not put it past them either. All in all, again, really like this episode. It was just the one thing of, Eddie and Iris's bullshit relationship that I just do not care about, I just really did not care about. But all in all, the stuff with Caitlin Snow, the stuff with Barry wanting to break his father out of prison, and, the few other things with Joe finally trying to reopen the case to save his friend, all of that, really, really made this episode great. And next episode, I am so fucking pumped, because next week, Captain Cold! And we're also getting Felicity in that episode. Sweet! I am really excited. Really, really excited for next week's episode. So prepare to hear me geek out over it. Anyway, once again, hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'm out.